He's already come in. I mean, I'd be pushing the friendship, but maybe Mr. Crawford might sort of do a ring walk and come in again. But here we go. 4, 3, 2. Welcome, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans from the Bondi Boxing Club, this is your main event as Tony Del Vecchio, in conjunction with Tassie Brown, presents Undisputed. The fight sequence reads this way: 41 fights with 41 victories, 31 of those victories by way of KO at 37 years of age. Standing 177 centimeters, 5'8", the old scale. Tipping the scales today, 72.7 kilograms, 160 pounds, the old scale. He is the former WBO lightweight champion of the world. He is the former undisputed super lightweight and ring magazine champion of the world. He is the current unified welterweight and ring magazine champion of the world and the current reigning and defending WBA junior middleweight and ring magazine champion of the world from Omaha, Nebraska, presenting pound for pound number 3 in the world, the superstar that is Terence Crawford!
Let me just fix that as number 1 pound for pound of the world, not number 3. He's number 1.
In my opinion, he is.
Nah, he is number 1. Who's making the ratings? He's number 1. Let's just make sure you know.
Is that number 1 pound for pound in the world?
Man, hey, listen.
It depends on who's giving the rating.
Listen, that's a fact. You know, I don't mind the rankings, how they put you, or where they put you. You know I'm great, and that's all that matters.
Well, we blame, I was reading the latest and the most current, but anyway, can we blame ChatGPT? Where do we start, where we go? It doesn't matter where we start or where we go, because we're never going to have enough time. This man has been running around town with appointments left, right, and centre with Tassie Brown. A great friend of mine, I call him unequalled, unrivaled when it comes to boxing IQ, JJ Rocket. He's in Dubai at the moment, and he sent me this little piece. He said, Terence Crawford is a generational fighter, a masterful switch hitter with a boxing IQ that we haven't seen in years. He will attempt to break all boxing folklores and go up from 140 to 168 to defeat boxing's poster boy, Canelo Alvarez. His tip, a Terence Crawford masterclass, and solidifying him as one of the greatest ever to lace up the boxing glove. That's a wrap. You ready for Canelo Alvarez at 168? That's 5 divisions. You ready?
Well, let me start off by saying I started at 135.
Thank you.
You know, let's get that. You know,
But as world champion 140.
the world champion 135.
135.
Yeah.
Okay, that's lightweight.
135,
Okay,
140,
140.
147,
Yeah.
154. Now I'm, daring to be great, to be, a 5 division world champion, 3-time undisputed. This is something that, I dreamed of, these moments, to always be remembered as one of the greats, always be remembered as one of the best to ever do it. This is a big opportunity for me, and this is what we do it for. You gotta seize the moment. I'm happy about it. I love the controversy of, I'm too small and he's too big, and I'm moving up 2 weight divisions into the wrong territory, and that's the beauty of boxing. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
I was talking to Tony about this, and also some colleagues and friends, and they say that weight stops trains, weight stops horses, and eventually weight stops boxers. You go have all these divisions to super middleweight. But for you, the mindset, it just doesn't matter. I mean, Canelo got found out at light heavy.
Well, you gotta think, Canelo started at what, 140?
Yeah.
So who was there to tell him, you know, you couldn't go all the way up to 178 and beat the bigger mans like Kovalev?
Respectfully, so his last 7 fights, and please, Tassie, don't correct me if I've got it wrong. His last 7 fights, they go the distance. The bookies have got it 62% of punters wagering on Alvarez. How do we win this fight, Terence?
Just being me, you know, like I always said, I don't gotta prepare for them, they gotta prepare for me. So, you know, I just be myself. You know, I know how to fight at the end of the day. You know.
Mark, what are we saying? We're gonna whip this little red-headed Mexican's ass!
He's your energized bunny. Now, talking bunnies and changing breeds, my mate Peter Bedell, he was with Fitz and he interviewed you in Brisbane. Did you get to the Gold Coast? Did you enjoy the Gold Coast?
I've been enjoying every bit of this whole trip.
Well into it.
Yeah, I've been.
Oh, and then I got told, see, I live on a big property, my father lives on a big property, so I was going to grab a koala and bring it out of the tree, a gum tree out the back. I was going to bring one in today, but I heard the last koala that you cut or shit on it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I got bad news for you, and it's factual.
They got chlamydia already.
Yeah, oh, okay.
But I'm not fucking no koala.
No, hey, look, and it's very treatable. But the random, 95%, those koalas, they get around.
Yeah.
Respectfully, every time I say respectfully, because it is out of respect. The last time I saw you was in the lead up to a fight that Australians were hoping, wishing, praying for a victory, wanting to believe. I was one of those people, along with 4-time world champion Jeffrey Fennick, now 4-time, declared 4-time. And Jeff Horn goes to America, MGM Grand, the mecca for world boxing. He misses weight. That was a bad sign. I don't know how they can't miss weight when you're about to step in with a different beast. You do a job on Jeff Horn, who was then our superstar of the boxing landscape, and all eyes were on him here. What are your memories of that fight? Because I'll be honest, I was actually standing up and being pretty vocal about round 7, calling at the corner, totally unofficially, please stop this fight, although I was a little bit more colourful than that. What are your memories of that fight with Jeff Horn, who had come off that unbelievable victory against Manny Pacquiao? If you believe he won that fight, it was debatable in the States. What are your memories of that fight?
Well, I remember, you know, a lot of boxing media talking about how big and how strong he is, and that I need to test the waters and fight somebody before moving up in weight and fighting the likes of Jeff Horn or Errol Spence or Keith Thurman, those type of guys. But I wanted to go straight into a champion when I moved up. Pacquiao was my ultimate goal. That was the fighter that I was, you know, for years trying to get in the ring with, just to prove, you know, who I was and to get my name where I wanted it to be, and that was at the top of the boxing world. Unfortunately, Manny Pacquiao lost to Jeff Horn, and I do believe Jeff Horn won that fight. A lot of people, it's debatable.
Why did he win?
I just think, you know, when you watch the fight, he outworked Pacquiao. He roughed him up, he pushed him around, he showed him, you know, who was the boss. The 9th round, he almost got knocked out. You know,
wow.
But you know, when you see the rounds after that, how hard he came back in one of those rounds, that showed a lot of testament to, you know, his heart and determination.
considering a friend of mine, I won't mention his name, a great man, he lives in America, and he's an Australian, a former heavyweight. He said the only way that Jeff Horn wins this fight is if Manny trips over on the way to the ring. I don't think we realise just what an underdog Jeff Horn was going to the ring that sunny afternoon in Brisbane. And your memories in the ring with Jeff, he came out looking for you. Is that probably the biggest mistake you can make with Terence Crawford? Nervous energy, adrenaline, and come to you attitude?
Well, that's his fighting style. You know, you can't take nothing away from a fighter that's been fighting a particular style his whole career that he's been successful with. You know, I do believe that given the fact that he was bigger than me, he thought he was stronger than me and thought that he can do me.
Bully you?
Yeah, do me the same way he did.
You said to me outside you weren't aware that he was fighting.
I didn't.
This Bowman must be some sort of brilliant. He must be. I had an argument with Bowman.
It didn't matter. Listen, it didn't matter if he made weight, missed weight, he wasn't going to beat me. So I say that with confidence, not cockiness. I was just, you know, more prepared. I was more skillful. I was stronger. I was more durable. And
you read him like a book, if we're going to be honest. You read Jeff like a book. In fact, I said to Tony, I don't want to disrespect Jeff, one of the nicest people I've ever met. I'm not saying you took the foot off the gas, but you were reading him that well that I think with a part of you thought, hey, I hope they stop this quite securely. I sort of sense that, even though you're a killer.
Yeah, you get those moments as a fighter.
That much in control.
When you're in total control, when you see fighters like Roy Jones Jr., you know, he's, you know, beating a fighter in this one side and he's telling the ref like, hey, you know, stop the fight. You know, and the ref don't stop the fight and he got to go out there and hurt the guy. And, you know, us fighters, you know, we all do it for the same thing, and that's to provide for our family at the end of the day. So when we in the ring, you know, the build up may be hectic and things like that, but all in all, we don't want to see the next fighter really get hurt to where, you know, it affects them after, you know, the fight with us.
Well, we thank you for that. I want to engage the crowd, and I said it before you walked in, I'm pretty sure about that. But you guys out there, questions, I'm happy to come out onto the floor, which is what we'd like to do. Tony said, let's get my members, the good people who have come out here on a Saturday morning in Sydney, town in Harbour City, to greet and to see pound for pound on one of the world. Terence Crawford. Questions from the floor, come and see it. Okay, I got you first, sir. If we don't get feedback, let's hear it. Casey's got you covered. Maybe, if you've got a question, maybe come up to the ring. Probably everyone. But, sir, your name, if I should know it, then excuse the ignorance. Are you playing basketball at the moment? Boxing. My God, Sebastian Fundora, he's here already. He's taller than you, by the way. Just. All right. Your question for Bart.
So I'm an amateur fighter, 1-0, undefeated, undisputed as well.
100%.
How do you plan to further invest in your community, especially in terms of boxing programs for the youth, and how should fighters in Australia do the same?
Well, currently I got a non-profit organization, a boxing gym that's free to the public. You know, the kids can come there, train for free, learn life skills, and we currently in the middle of in the process of getting programs put in the gym like welding, sewing, culinary arts. That way the fighters, if you know, for some odd reason they don't want to box, they can learn the trade for free. So that's my way of giving back to the community as well. I don't know like too much of Australia and how they do things and here, but that's something that, you know, they can look forward to as well, is you know, put the time and energy into the youth because they are, you know, I hope for the next generation.
Thank you, Terence. What's your name? Terror?
It's the Tower of Terror.
The Tower of Terror. We're going to be watching you, Mr. 100%. He's 1 from 1.
Right.
This is Jason, Terence.
Hi Terence, you're an absolute champion. I'm a boxing coach from Strong Box down at Rose, and a lot of my fighters really look up to your legendary skills in the ring. Me as a coach, and I'm sure for a lot of aspiring other boxers too, we'd like to know what would be like your most favorite boxing drills that you would say has made the biggest difference to you, your like development of yourself.
It varies, you know. You can drill on the bag, you can drill footwork, you can drill head movement. It just all depends on what that fighter is lacking. You know, if that fighter is lacking, you know, footwork, you want to drill him with footwork to get his footwork together. So again, it all depends on the fighter. You know, what you want to drill. If the fighter got a bad left hand and he don't like to use his left hand, you want to drill him with the left hand so he can, you know, get more confidence in using it.
Makes it sound simple, doesn't it? Yeah. Your name, sir? Good.
Hey, Terence, thanks for coming down. When you beat Canelo, where are you going to rank yourself top 10?
You hear that? That's Australian confidence. When?
Some of those guys in the top 10, Terence, have done some crazy stuff. They fight every month. They have same-day weigh-ins. Totally different sport. Me personally, when you beat Canelo, I put you top 10 because that's 3 undisputed weight divisions. But where do you rank yourself?
I don't want to, like, disrespect any of all the other greats that came before me. I definitely would say I'm the best in my generation, and I would be in the top 5 of all time, for sure.
I'm not sure who said it. Again, going back to the MGM Grand, this man does what someone said to me, walking, it might have been back, I'd never heard it before. The great Johnny Lewis, who trains here with Tony every second or third day, Canastota Hall of Fame, the great Johnny Lewis. He said, Mark, I won't impersonate Johnny now, but he said, Mark, Sugar Ray Robinson could knock a man out with a left hook walking backwards. Terence Crawford does that kind of thing. And then someone said to me in America, he calls it walking backwards in the rain, where they're firing shots, missing, making them miss, and still countering on the back foot. That's almost impossible, you know. How do you do that?
Distance.
Distance.
You know, distance and, you know, accuracy.
Okay. Don't give it too much away. It'll take a lot of time, I gather.
That's what it is.
Yeah, preparation. Your name, sir?
Rocky.
Hey, Rocky.
Hey man, big fan. The day the fight against Canelo was announced, I took a loan out, I booked flights, I booked accommodation, I booked pre-booked tickets, bro. I'm up to like $15,000 US. Then they moved the date.
We let the English in here, by the way. We let the English into Australia quite often. Just, but I'm looking at his ticket here, bro. Wow, there's a lot of zeros up, bro.
Like, I just want to know then, they moved the date and they talk of moving the location. I hope it's in the USA because I don't care. But if they move it to Saudi, I'm a bit iffy. Where would you like the fight to take place?
Well, it ain't where I like the fight to be. The fight will be in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Boom!
September 13th.
He's happy. He's happy. That's all right. This is Terence. This is it.
So you good. Yes.
That's called dedication. That's called preparation. That's walking backwards in the rain. Steve, lovely to see you, Terence. Do you have any advice for staying relaxed in the ring? And also, assuming you do a lot of visualization, what's your process for doing that?
Believe it or not, you know, I've been doing that as a kid, you know, staying focused and staying relaxed and not too relaxed, but You know, not trying to exert too much energy because you're already exerting a lot of energy by moving and punching and things like that. So I want to be as relaxed as possible to let my shots come as natural as possible.
And any advice on visualization?
Well, you know, like I said, that's something that I've been doing as a kid, you know, visualizing where I want to be in life, what I want to accomplish in the sport of boxing, or where I want to go.
So we've got a lot to get through. I've got a couple of vexing questions myself, and you can see very popular here. And these are just the ones that are brave enough to step up and ask a question, because you know that most people in life are more scared of public speaking than actually dying. So you're popular.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm not normal. Right. That's good. Right. Your name, sir, and a question for Bart.
Hey Terence, my name is Nick. Massive fan. My family's a boxing family. Boxing saved my life. Now, what I want to know is, your upbringing was a tough upbringing. What advice do you have for the kids here today? Those that are doing it tough. You know, you got, was it 5 schools you got expelled from? Or,
I'm going to get to that, but I know it's talking about adversity and a lesson.
What advice can you give the kids that potentially are on the brink of giving up, throwing in the towel? You never did. How'd you do it?
I would just tell them, you know, stay focused, stay consistent, listen to the people that want the best for you, you know, the great advisors, the great mentors, you know, because them the people that's really gonna be a big help in you being successful in life. You know, there was plenty of times that I wanted to give up boxing and, you know, just stay in the streets, you know, but those mentors, you know, helped me, you know, be guided into the right path in life. So I think mentors is you know, God-given, you know, I wouldn't say talent, but I think, you know, mentors are sent from heaven, you know, because they want to see the best for you.
You got a little fan here, right? His name's Theodore. Now, I've never met Theodore, but I just thought, you know, we'll bring a little man up here with talk about children and our future. And Theodore, you got a question for Mr. Crawford. What's your question, Theodore?
What's your toughest fight, and what weight division was it?
My toughest fight was Gamboa. It was at the lightweight division. You know, Gamboa was fast, he was experienced, he was explosive. I got down in that fight, and I just had to stay focused and, you know, keep my poise and stick to the game plan.
I'm going to get in trouble here, but you jump, I reckon, in case he's that quick on the socials, you go in there and there's a big click, and Mum and Dad are going to be pretty happy. I reckon the boys are going to be pretty happy too. That's a big surprise for a kid. How was that? Cheers, Theodore. I'm going to strip down. Not completely. Not Vegas.
Yeah.
No, I got locked up in Vegas once. I got locked up in Vegas. That's a different story another time. We'll catch up. They take it serious over there. I'm a victim of circumstance, sir. What? Your name, sir?
My name is Brett. Good to meet you, Terence. Interested in hearing you talk about the Gamboa fight, but I'm interested in the Madrimov fight. I thought it was very even up to the last couple of rounds, and I just want to hear about if he was a difficult puzzle for you to sort of work out.
I didn't think it was even at all, you know.
So there, it's like that.
I thought he was doing a lot of feinting, landing a punch here and there, and it definitely wasn't effective. So I thought he won max 3 rounds. That's how much I give him. So, you know,
how about you, Terence?
Me, in the last couple of rounds, I wanted to close the show being that he was a champion, and you got to beat the champion. So I just decided to pick it up because I know, you know, as a champion, you know, you got to beat him. So that's what I did in the last couple of rounds.
Very quickly, because we're going to take 4, guys.
Did you watch Charles Juarez and Navarrete a few weeks ago? Charlie Suarez, a Filipino.
No, I didn't.
Honesty is the best policy. Not just saying it, it could have fucked it. Right. And your name is Gillian.
Exactly. Hi, Terence. I'm Gillian. I'm out of myself, Omaha. I wanted to know what do you do when you motivation or discipline are down?
You said, what do I do when my motivation is slipping?
Yeah, are down. Like,
I ain't never experienced that.
always,
I'm self-motivated because, you know, all the doubters, you know, coming from where I come from, I was always told I couldn't be this or I couldn't do this or that's not going to happen. So keeping those negative thoughts in the back of my mind, you know, always led me and pushed me to drive to success. So anytime that I get down on myself, I always remember all those people telling me that I can't do it, and it's not gonna happen, or I'm gonna end up dead or in jail, you know. So those are the constant reminders that I have, you know, when I'm getting to a point where I'm losing motivation. Because we all lose motivation at times, but you just gotta remember what you're doing it for and who you're doing it for.
There you go. You mean what? Hey, you lose motivation, boy. Your name and question, sir.
My name's Tim, big fan Terence. I wanted to ask the question, so after you beat Canelo, how many fights do you think you have left? And does the idea of going down to middleweight to become 6-weight world champ appeal to you? Or what weight would you fight at?
I've got to say, middleweight hasn't been on the radar. It's one that I want to ask. What do we know about middleweight? We go back and crash that party as well?
Nah, I don't know. You know, like I said, I don't, you know, eat before my food on my table. So right now I'm at 168, about to prepare to fight Canelo. And that's the only thing I'm thinking about right now. I'm not thinking about nothing else.
I'd like to see just the consistency of my OCD. If we could just go back and crash middleweight as well on the way. I just put it out there. It doesn't get in the way of your plans, right? Thank you, Terence. All right, your name, sir. Question for pound. Where is Sassy?
Yep.
Pound for pound, one in the world.
That's it.
What? You know there are different ratings,
Hey,
different
brother,
bodies.
listen, brother. There's levels to this. Look, I love, you know, I love Usyk. This man is another level. And like, mate, what are you going to say when he beats Canelo, man, and comes straight to We're talking GOAT. No, we're talking GOAT conversation now. We're talking Ray Robinson, Ali, Sugar Leonard.
Hey, I think a sparring session's in order with you two.
Let's do this right now.
Oh, Tassie. All right. I love his passion.
Hello, son. Where's Johnny? Where's Johnny?
Mate, I got Luke Jackson right next to you. He's my bodyguard. I got Liam sitting behind him.
Hey.
So you get through there, and you come and see me, right?
It's coach, bro.
All that I mind, but there's going to be a loyalty question.
I'm not going with that guy, bro.
No, okay. Look, I said right here in the pool. All right. We're just playing. We're playing. Your question, sir. You've asked your question? I lost my train of thought, but I think another breakdown. Fantastic. Your name and question for the champ.
Thanks for coming out, bud. A common theme in your career seems to have been you being overlooked throughout the industry and not being given the credit that you deserve. And that people always seem to make excuses for the fighters that you just fought. He was too old, he was damaged goods, he had a car accident. There's always some excuse. So I'm just wondering, what excuse do you think Canelo's going to have when you become 3-time?
You know, that was something that used to always get to me at times, but as I rose on the chart, it's gonna happen. It's boxing, you know. They don't give Floyd Mayweather any credit. They're not gonna give you no credit until you retire. Now they give you all the credit. So it's gonna be something, you know. It's gonna be. He's old, but I'm older than him.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, oh, he stayed at the way too long. It's gonna be something, you know. So, but you can't worry about those negative people. You know, you need people like that as well because that's drive the game.
My idol, Mr. Muhammad Ali, said, "I may not be as great as I once was, but can I be as great for just one day?"
That's right.
Your question, your name and your question to the chair.
Hi, Terence. My name is Luke. I'm a huge fan. You're obviously a undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. How do you define your legacy and what are you still chasing?
Oh man, I define my legacy as a person that did it his way, a person that went against the boxing corporations like the promoters, top rank, going to court and suing them and all that things like that. Just a person that's standing up for what he believes in. So I think when it's all said and done, I'm gonna be respected for being, who I wanted to be. And
Frank Sinatra did it my way.
And not who they wanted me to be.
Yeah.
They always wanted me to, act a certain way or put on certain clown shows and things like that. And I always go against it like, hey, listen, I'm who I am, and that's, who I'm going to continue to be. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be remembered for being a stand-up individual at the end of the day.
There you go, sir. 2 quick ones. I'm so breaking my heart. We're going to do some stuff as well. Come quickly. Quick questions for the chair.
My name is Bison. I just wanted to ask, what advice would you give to an amateur fighter in transitioning to the pros, and what things you would have done differently if you had the opportunity to?
You said what? Say it.
So what advice would you give for an amateur fighter in transitioning to the pros and the pro game, and what other things you would have done differently if you had the opportunity to?
The advice I give to an amateur turning pro is making sure it's the right move. Make sure that you're ready. Because once you turn pro, ain't no turning back. And you can seriously get injured there. Make sure you got the right team around you, the right people that care about you, and go for broke. You gotta train your ass off.
I like it. It's got a good name.
Yeah.
Good name to start. Tyson. Your name?
Hey, so my name is Amal. I'm an amateur boxer, 17 years old, and I've been offered a pathway to the next Olympics in LA, but I also want to turn pro as soon as I'm 18, which is next year. What is your best advice for me to do from this stage?
I would tell you to try to make the Olympics and, perform, your best at the Olympics, because it's going to open up more opportunities for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, great respect, young man. All right, little lady, you break my heart. This is our last question. Quickly, it's okay. What's your name, little lady?
Hi, I'm Dior. I'm your biggest fan. I'm having my first fight soon. Can I get any advice?
Go out there, have fun. That's the best advice that I
can give. Good luck. Good luck. All right, beautiful. Have a good shit. All right, well done to you all. Yes, quickly to your last question. We're going to log in through.
It's David from Toronto Boxing Roads. We understand that a lot of your success we can attribute to your unique fighting style. You're an ambidextrous boxer. You've got a wrestling background, which makes you very hard to bully around with guys bigger than you. Is that something that fighters here can hope to develop with a regular boxing curriculum, or is that something unique that you would suggest that people do?
It works in many ways, because when you look at certain wrestlers that try to go to boxing, they slower. They don't have the fast twitch muscles like a person that's been boxing all their life, have. I was blessed enough to have the foundation from wrestling to be strong and physically strong, and not be too muscular. So I think it's critical for fighters that want to become boxing to know how to control their body. So it don't got to be wrestling. I would put my kids in gymnastics, because you get stronger, and know how to control every movement on your body by doing gymnastics. So and it helps you with balance, like wrestling. So all three of those sports go hand in hand with balance and your foundation. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. And this is Tony. I think we've got the most respectful crowd, hopefully, that you're enjoying here. Very chilled out Saturday morning. Bondi Boxing Club. Tony Delvecchio, head coach, Lynn Sandstrom, put a lot of work into this in conjunction with your man, Tszyu Brown. So if you're all comfortable, we might just continue. There's a couple of subjects I'd like to touch on where you're comfortable. You've answered pretty well around the subjects I was going. Let's do rapid fire, and if you've answered them, that's cool. It's just boxing, your hero. Your hero in boxing.
Emma?
Your hero. Who is your hero in boxing?
I have a hero.
Okay.
I didn't have a hero. I didn't, have a person that I wanted to be like.
Really?
Never. I liked it.
Did you watch any old tape of Sugar Ray Robinson?
I watched. No, you haven't.
There's still some grainy black and white. He went to tap dancing. He went to tap dancing when he retired. That's how good he was.
1 second, Mark. I've got a question for you, Bella.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
Tazzy? No, I've got one question.
Let me answer the question.
Okay, yeah.
It's all right,
Tazzy, the Tasmanian devil. No, but me personally, I was so into myself being a leader that coming up, I never wanted to be like anyone. I never, I like the things that people do.
Favorite fighter? Let's
Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather. I liked Roy because we had so much in common.
Mm-hmm.
He liked to fish. I love to fish. He loved the dogs. I love the dogs. He loved basketball. I love basketball.
Did he play a game prior to a fight, a world title fight?
For sure. So I can relate a lot to Roy. So that's why Roy will and forever be my favorite fighter. Floyd Mayweather, his work ethic, the things that, he did in the ring, not outside the ring.
Spent some time with Mr. Jones here in Australia before the green fight.
Yeah, so
and he went hunting out west.
So I would just look at the things that they did that led them to be successful, and I would say, let me try to put that in my arsenal, or let me try to do that to see if it works. So I would just try to take bits and pieces for fighters that, I thought that could fight or that I admire from their skills.
You might have said this, your best win, your toughest opponent. I think you've answered that. We've got to go there. Tim Tszyu, former champion of the world. Fondora. Look, honestly, Tazzy, you've got to let me do this. Look at this. Look at the screen up there. There's Mr. Crawford doing his thing with the Horn and Jeff Horn. Fondora won. Not the way that I particularly, I've got to choose my words carefully here. I love Tim, and I've known him since a baby. I travelled with Costa 9 times to your country in a media capacity, a PR capacity, publicity. In fact, you're the first junior welter to unify that division since Costa. Back in 2004 when Costa unified the same division. Tim, Fundora won, takes the fight against Sebastian, who I think is a wonderful human. I got the pleasure of meeting him as well. Now, that fight for me was over in round 3, if not for the cut in round 2. I believe Tim was taking him to school. There's a flip side to this. If I'm doing the job, he doesn't come out to answer the bell for round 5. And he still has the belt. What is your opinion on that?
You're 100% right.
Right. Well, he said it, so I can't get in trouble, right? Do you agree, guys? Are you with me on that?
Yeah, 100%. Come on.
Okay. So, then, if I could get this pronunciation wrong, he then walks into a scene trainer, who I'm told, and I'll stand corrected, was fasting in his previous fight for Ramadan. Tim fights Bakram Mutaziliev and runs into an absolute steam train. Down 3 times in round 2, once in round 3. And now I go back to the great Jeff Fennick who told me, Mark, the only thing you can't train is a chin. And so as I idolise Tszyu. I worry for Tim's journey as he moves towards Fondora 2. He's had a nice warm-up fight, I'm going to call it that, a warm-up fight with Joey Spencer, no disrespect. Who wins? Tszyu Fondora 2.
Well, like I said, you know, in boxing, anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen. So you don't ever want to make it seem as if you know for sure. But Fondora is definitely the favorite, and he definitely, you know, have.
You got Fondora's favorite?
Yeah, for sure.
I disagree with you there. I promise you. What's the fight back, the first one?
That's the first one.
Okay, you think Tim's a different fighter now?
Of course.
Wow.
100%.
Because some fighters do not recover. And I'm not talking about the cut. I'm talking about background. And I can rattle some off to you. I don't believe that judo was ever the same fighter after the Tszyu knocked him. I don't think he was ever the same fighter.
He won undisputed in waterweight, beat Corey Speaks. Won all the belts.
I don't think he was the same fighter. It's just my opinion.
He won undisputed and won all the belts at the division above.
Just don't think he was the same.
Talk your truth, Tazzy. Talk your thing, talk your thing.
It's just an opinion. I mean, Kostya, thankfully, at the end of the Hatton fight, walked away from it. So that is very interesting for boxing pundits. It's very interesting for boxing pundits that you don't believe, Terence Crawford does not believe that Tim Tszyu is the same fighter that fought Sebastian the first time as he walks into a blockbuster no-limit fight, Fondora 2, Tszyu Fondora 2. And I wouldn't be, you know, I could sit here and do all the platitudes, but if we didn't get the real opinion from you, I wouldn't be doing the job for Tony. And you're tipping Fondora?
For sure.
Well, I disagree.
That's why, you know.
It's a great sport, isn't it?
Opinion is just like an ass. We all got it.
Finally, Mr. Crawford, before the final curtain call on your unbelievable career, is there one fight that you've got there, written down somewhere, and at what weight?
No.
No.
This is that one fight. You know, like I said, the fight that I was chasing, the fight that I wanted, the fight that
I'm talking about after Canelo. Is there one fight?
Oh no, like I told you before, I don't eat before my food is on my plate.
I love that.
I'm focusing on one forward fighter.
Yeah.
You know, Canelo is it.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, after Canelo, we see, you know, how I feel and, you know, what my team suggests and things like that. I don't think about fighters before I fight. Tim, you know, had that mistake. Yeah.
How close was that fight in the making, yourself and Tim?
It was, he didn't want to fight. He wanted to fight Fondora instead of me. Fondora didn't want to fight me afterwards, so I fought Israel. It was simple.
Perhaps a final message for the young kids here like Dior and Theodore. Because I did dodge it. I was going to have a bit of fun with it, but I thought, you know what, you've got to play your catch. But you know all about adversity, and I'm sure that everyone in this room has read about that adversity and your upbringing. And I think some of the kids that asked questions today, some of the young men that asked the question, the final message to the kids, they don't make it in boxing, but about life and getting up off the canvas. I think Joe Louis, the great Joe Louis said, the man that fights one more round is never beaten. You got a message for the people here today that are facing enormous adversity out there?
Well, I just tell them, you know, stay focused, you know, stay positive, and, you know, stay in school, learn all you can learn, you know, learn along the way. You know, life is the best teacher. So if you can learn and have the mindset to keep learning, you'll be just fine. You know, just never give up.
Never.
That's it. Never give up.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to hand over and have a quick chat with Tony and I think Tassie. But ladies and gentlemen, pound for pound number 101! Well, that's undisputed. Hang on 1 second. The boss is here. Okay. My goodness, that was nerve-wracking. I've got no floor manager, and I'm worried about Tassie Brown. Okay. You right, Taz?
I'm good.
All right.
Guys, first of all, thank you all for the support and for coming today. Obviously, you know, pound for pound, number one for me. As a coach, Terence, I've got some questions, but there's a question last night that someone asked you, and they said Oklahoma. I'm not going to go down there. Omaha, Nebraska. Not known for a boxing city. Okay, I mean, I guess all of us as fans, you know, you think LA, Philly, New York, even now, you know, some states, some cities in Florida. But how's it work at home? I mean, you have to bring everything with you. I mean, obviously, I'll give you a call, let's say. I've got all my boxers are in there and some around and you also, Mr. Berger said, we want to come for a training camp. How does that work?
What, being from Omaha?
Yeah, well, you doing all the training in Omaha, so everything comes to you?
Well, I do my training in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I guess so, but I mean, you still bring the same things to you, yeah?
Yeah, I bring all my coaches, I bring the sparring partners, you know, everything happens in Colorado Springs.
I guess what I'm leading to, because there was a question one of the boys asked me to ask, so I'm going to get it right. So when you first signed, I think it was Top Rank, and someone at Top Rank said, oh, we need you to train elsewhere. No, your coach wasn't going to be a coach, Romac was going to be there, and you said, nah, I'm not doing that. So I guess what was on?
That wasn't when I signed Top Rank, that was in the Olympic trials. You know, when I was talking to a manager that wanted to manage me. He was Shelly Finkel's. He had all the top fighters in the world, and he was interested in me, and he wanted to move me out of Omaha because he said I'm talented as ever, but Omaha is not a hotbed for boxing, and my trainers brought me as far as they can. So I cut it short right there. I was like, we don't even need to talk because wherever I go, my trainer's going, and I don't need to move out of Omaha to be a world champion. I'm going to be a champion from Omaha.
The big question that everyone wanted to know before we got here today, what happened to Saddam Ali? He was the man that stopped you getting to the Olympics. Where did he get to in the professional ranks? Just a quick question, that's the big question.
Well, Saddam Ali was you know, kind of like a golden boy since we was little kids, you know. World kid Ali, had the cameras, had everything around him. He really never had to box because he came up with money. You know, that was a political fight. I was winning every round, and in the last round, I don't even know.
So that was just amateur boxing?
That was amateur boxing for sure.
Decisions. We know all about it.
He goes, lose the first fight in the Olympics, turned professional. He had an okay professional career. He won a WBO 154-pound title. So he done everything he needed to do in boxing. He won the nationals. He went to the Olympics. He won a world title. So
I'm joking, actually, because I haven't heard of him since.
Yeah, he don't got nothing to hold his head down. He accomplished everything, you know, title-wise, champion-wise, in the sport of boxing, all the levels, except winning a gold medal.
Okay. But didn't he beat McCall Cotto at the end of his career? So he beat Cotto, bro, so he done okay.
I was trying to say, he's not Terence Crawford, right?
There we got there in the end. I guess, look, We've got most of the boys, all those boys on the floor. So you'd be remiss of me not to ask. They've all asked me, do you need some rounds while you're here?
Yeah, man, where that guy at?
Yeah,
right here, man. I got my stuff in the car.
Why is it with you?
Huh?
Why is it with you?
It is with me. If it's in the car, it's with me. The car outside.
Have an outside or travel, right? I guess for us, it's like, it's a real privilege obviously to have you here, and I thank you very much. I thank all the guys as well. So,
I just want to give a big shout out to Tony Rovecchio. Billy is saying was like all in Sydney, body punch, we all know who Billy is. He's my brother. But Tony jumped on board, so round of applause for Tony Rovecchio, guys. And Mark Lawrence, thank you so much. There's one person from Mark. This is easy, Terence knows it. Who was the boxer back when boxing was full division, so there was no super lightweight, no super featherweight, no light metal. Who held 3 divisions at once, 4 divisions at once? Featherweight, lightweight, and lightweight. So this guy was a champion, all 3 at once, okay? Could defend each division. Then he went up the middleweight and got ripped off, had a draw. Everyone said, for the middleweight division, so he would have been 4 at once. Who was this guy?
I don't know. If the answer was that.
Henry Armstrong.
Henry Armstrong.
You know?
How you know boxing and you don't know who that is?
I've heard some other pearls of wisdom at you. And he's got me rattled. And he's shouting.
That was easy though.
Thank you, Terence, for helping. Did you know, Tony? Of course you
I want to say 2 guys. There's a guy here in the gym. We're all very close to. He was an Olympian captain 2012 London. One of the best amateurs we've ever had. I had the pleasure to be a part of his career from 2008 to be 4th Phantom for the world title in Belfast. Luke Ashton Jackson. So just want to give him his flowers as he deserves it. He's my brother.
He's a good man.
He's a great Tasmanian. We're all great men.
All right. Are we wrapping this up? Well, you need some better ways. Yeah. What time's the plane fly out?
Noon.
Noon? Okay, well, you're going to get moving. You got lounge passes and so forth. You take care at 40,000 feet. You go home to Omaha, Nebraska. You set your sights and know that a little group from Waterloo in Sydney, club members, are going to be riding every single punch when you take on Alvarez and make it the super middleweight champion of the world, Terence Crawford. Good morning and thank you. You guys have been stars. My name is Mark Ryan. Goodbye, God bless, and bye for now.
Hey, thanks everybody for having me. I just want to say I appreciate all y'all for coming out and showing support. You know what I mean? It means a lot. You know, I've been on a world tour in Australia, and I definitely can assure you that I'll be back. And I'll be back, you know what I mean, more, you know what I mean, time where I can come and train and, you know what I mean, be in the gym with you guys and, you know, training alongside you. Appreciate it. Everything. I'm going to be able to do it all.
You're the best seafood in the world, bro.
Right, I know some of you guys are looking for photos and stuff like that, but I'll shoot.